Mikel Arteta was furious. In his post-match press conference, the Arsenal manager didn't hold back, making it clear he was absolutely livid about what had just transpired on the pitch. He explicitly stated that a key refereeing decision was against the rules. The target of his anger was a late penalty call, specifically a penalty that the referee decided to overturn, but only after standing at the pitch-side monitor and watching the replay 13 separate times. This level of outrage highlights a massive dispute. It is a fight over how the strict protocols of video review are actually applied when the stakes are at their absolute highest. The setting for this dispute was the heart of the Spanish capital, where Arsenal traveled to face a battle-tested Atletico Madrid squad in a massive Champions League clash. The pressure on the London side is immense. They are fighting to snap a 20-year drought and finally reach the Champions League final. Both teams spent 9 months of exhausting preparation building to this exact 90 minutes. Yet the entire narrative of the match was hijacked by a single technological intervention. Did VAR step in to save this semifinal from a refereeing disaster, or did it break its own protocols to deny Arsenal a massive away win? The physical battleground for all of this was the Wanda Metropolitano. Here, the two sides played out a tense, hard-fought 1-1 draw that was defined entirely by chaos inside the penalty box. The drama started in the 44th minute when Viktor Gyökeres went down under a challenge from David Hanko to win Arsenal their first penalty. Atletico boss Diego Simeone noted that the player seemed to wait for the contact from behind. This established early on that even minimal contact in the box was being actively penalized. 12 minutes later, Julian Alvarez equalized from the spot for Atletico. That penalty was awarded only after VAR intervened to spot a deflected handball by Ben White. By the final stretch of the match, video review had already heavily intervened to keep the tie completely deadlocked. The environment was perfectly primed for a final controversy. That brings us to the climactic moment. Arsenal substitute Eberechi Eze takes the ball into the box and goes down under another challenge from Hanko. Referee Danny McAley immediately points to the spot. Arsenal is suddenly positioned to take a massive lead late in the game. But as Atletico players protest relentlessly, VAR official Dennis Higler instructs McAley to head over to the sideline monitor. This flowchart breaks down VAR's core legal mechanic. The video assistant referee can only overturn decisions in one scenario, a clear and obvious error. But here's the paradox. McAley reportedly watched the incident 13 times before overturning his own call. The aftermath was a fractured consensus. Some pundits agreed with the intervention, while independent reviewers argued the penalty should have been allowed to stand. Which brings us back to Arteta's anger. If an error requires 13 separate viewings to identify, it strains the very definition of clear and obvious. What is meant to be a tool for objective clarity becomes an engine for subjective debate. Arteta's strict, rules-based outrage stood in sharp contrast to Diego Simeone's reaction. The Atletico manager accepted the chaos with hardened pragmatism. Simeone summarized the logic of modern football perfectly. Sometimes VAR gives, and sometimes it takes away. For Arsenal, the material consequence is severe. They were denied an away victory that would have changed the entire setup of the return leg. Now the 1-1 draw leaves everything balanced heading into the return leg in London. Arsenal will enter that home leg as the favorites, but they carry the dangerous psychological burden of a perceived injustice. At the highest echelons of the sport, a technology introduced to eliminate human error has instead become the game's primary source of dramatic friction.